Write the book now.
Interview and podcast show.
Podcast show?
Podcast show.
Dr. Sharon H. Porter believes she encourages anyone that's contemplating becoming a published author
to go ahead and write the book now.
Dr. Sharon H. Porter.
Thank you for joining us. This week's guest is Joy Price, author of Never Miss the Mark. As the CEO of Jumpstart HR LLC, Joy Price innovates by leading HR efforts for small business owners and startup founders who want to build better, stable businesses. As a podcaster on the Business Life and Coffee Show, he innovates by sharing carefully curated conversations on personal finance, psychology, professional development, and business for emerging professionals and business owners alike.
You're listening to Dr. Sharon H. Porter.
Write the book now.
Welcome, Joy. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Write the Book Now interview and podcast show. I'm so honored to have my guest today, Joy Price. Thank you, Joy, for being on today.
Sharon, it is truly a pleasure, and thank you for the honor of inviting me and being able to be on the show today.
Absolutely. What an impressive bio. I mean, really, you've done a lot with HR and careers. Can you tell us just a little bit more about what it is that you do?
Yeah, so I have a company that's called Jumpstart HR. It's HR outsourcing for small businesses and startups. I started the company about 6 years ago in 2011, and it's really an opportunity for me to add value to a lot of different companies that are small and growing, that want to grow, but may not be able to afford a full-time HR professional, or they just don't feel like they're at that place right now where they need someone full-time, but they realize that they need HR expertise regardless of their size.
Awesome. So the book, Never Miss the Mark, Career Search Strategies Provided by HR Pros. So my first question about the book is going to always be, what made you write the book now? What was your reason behind that?
Well, the reason I wrote the book, it was not selfish at all. I just want to help people find jobs and land the opportunities that are literally sitting in front of their lap. So before I started my business 6 years ago, like I said, I had years of experience as an HR professional. And part of that was being responsible to some degree in the recruiting process, whether that's conducting phone screens, whether that's doing interviews, all sorts of aspects of the hiring process, attending job fairs, things of that nature. And what I found was that there were candidates that would come and be on the phone screen or be in front of me on the interview or job fairs, and I would just see that, unfortunately, we can't hire you because of something that went a certain way, whether you responded to a question the wrong way, or you didn't dress well for the interview, or at a job fair you showed up unprepared, but I can't hire you, and I can give you some personal feedback, but there are hundreds and thousands of people that need the same advice, especially with us coming out of the recent recession where the economy took a hit, and now it's harder and harder to find a job because people are, there's a huge war on talent. So I wrote the book for people to get an inside look, a behind-the-scenes look at what HR is saying about your resume, your interview skills, and your networking skills, and what you can do to fix it.
Awesome. And so I see that you actually help with the job search inquiry, and you really talk about, and I love this, how you're not a career coach. You're not a resume writer. You are an active HR professional that make HR decisions. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the thing that I found, and sometimes this is more so for people that are in college and they may be working with a career advisor or a career coach that the university gives to them, but this can also be for adults in the working world that are working with resume writers and career coaches. But it's one thing to have coaching on preparing your resume and preparing some questions and ways to posture yourself in an interview, but who better to hear it from than the horse's mouth? And so, resume writers are great, career coaches are great. It's helpful if they have HR experience, because otherwise they're not really going to know the ins and outs of what truly goes on behind the scenes when jobs are making decisions about employment. There are a lot of different factors at play, and sometimes it's not the best resume that wins it. Sometimes it's not the best interviewer that wins it. But there's just some factors that we look for as HR professionals that are specific to our culture, that are specific to the hiring manager. And so the book tells you strategies of, okay, well, how do you uncover those hidden things? How can you read between the lines and know, okay, the person that I might be working for wants to hire someone who's a self-starter and ambitious, as opposed to thinking that the person I'm working for wants to hire someone who sits back and waits to take orders. So I try to write the book and include a lot of different HR professionals and hiring managers who were able to provide that unfiltered expertise.
Awesome. So are your services industry-specific careers? Like, do you help certain careers, or is it a wide range, a variety of careers that your services provide?
Well, I like to say that my company, it really doesn't matter what industry. And the reason why is because for companies that are smaller, there are a lot of the similar kinds of questions that they're asking, and they're facing similar hurdles. So we're there to give that jump start or to give that boost so that the business owner doesn't have to spend time and energy and stress thinking about, okay, well, how do I solve this HR challenge that we know is common to companies of that size. So it really doesn't matter the industry. We've helped companies that are federal contractors, that produce granola, that are in IT, that are in nonprofit, that are religious organizations. We help them all.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your blogging, because I hear that you do some very interesting things here. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so right now I am one of the official bloggers for SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resources Management. And my particular focus is two things, leadership and small business. Naturally, really, with my company focusing on those areas, it makes sense for me to cover and write for the little guys, so to speak. So I'll go to conferences and I will take on a beat where I can take these large topics and make them digestible for a small business to execute. So that's what I do currently with the blog.
Okay, awesome. And you also host your own podcast, Business, Life, and Coffee Show. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is my baby. I love it. It's the Business, Life, and Coffee show, and the website is businesslifeandcoffee.com. I've been doing the podcast for about a year and a half now, almost 2 years. And what it allows me to do is to, again, at the core of who I am, I want to help people succeed. And so it's a conversation with me and an expert. And the conversations are 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Sometimes they can go an hour. But we're talking about a particular topic, and they are the experts. So I'm asking questions as if, there are a lot of people sitting around the table with us in a coffee shop, and I'm trying to ask questions that I think the audience would want to know. So when I have financial experts, I want to know, well, what are the biggest challenges that people have when it comes to saving and budgeting money? What are some of the recommendations you have for investing in the stock market or in real estate? When it comes to business and leadership folks, I'm asking, how can young professionals or mid-level professionals get ahead in their career, and what does it take to succeed at the next step? So I'm asking these questions sort of like it's a coffee shop where we're one-on-one. And so the podcast really has nothing to do about coffee, but more to do about business and life and the community aspect that you get when you go into a Starbucks or a Panera or another coffee shop, and people are grinding it out.
Oh, wonderful. Can't wait to listen to that. That sounds great.
Can't wait to have you on the show.
Oh, Thank you. I can't wait. So, Joy, what are just a few of the challenges that you have identified of applicants when they begin their job search that you can tell us?
Well, the first one is just underestimating what it takes to successfully find a job in this market, in our economy. So we like to think that anyone can talk about themselves, anyone can write things on paper. So we automatically assume sometimes that, I can write my resume, or I can update my LinkedIn, or I can write my cover letter. And yes, you can, but the reality is that it's a competitive world out there. And so it's helpful to get advice and insight from HR professionals through the book that can tell you, okay, hey, this is how you should be preparing your resume. These are the things that you should be talking about in your cover letter, and this is how you should be selling yourself. I actually had a great friend of mine who is a resume writer and HR professional. So he's one of the awesome guys, but he's a resume writer and an HR professional. And we were talking and having a conversation about, think of yourself as a business. And if you are a business and you want to get in front of an audience, well, you're going to work with a marketer. And so the marketer is going to write effective, in business we call it copy, but they're basically going to write effective words for you that convey the message that you want your audience to hear. So a resume writer or the book will help you write your resume in a way that the hiring manager and that the HR wants to see it. So that's one of the things, underestimating what it takes to be successful in writing a resume. The second is not paying attention to the little things. And so by little things, it's details like grammar and punctuation on a resume. It's not being nice to the receptionist. It's not following up on your interviews with thank you notes. These are little things that not everyone is doing, and it gives you a competitive edge, because all throughout the process of job search, you're literally it's like the Hunger Games, where you're literally being weeded out, and the idea isn't necessarily to be the one that's selected, but sometimes it's about being the last one that's left behind. And so, the recruiters are looking to weed you out based on whether you fit or not. They're looking to weed you out based on if your salary expectations are too high. They're weeding you out based on grammar in your resume. Hiring managers are weeding you out because they feel as though maybe you haven't conveyed the right amount of experience or the right context to your experience. So it's a weeding out game. So you want to make sure that your packaging, from your resume to your interviewing skills to networking skills, it gives you the best chance to succeed for the long run.
Awesome. So he gave you two good nuggets: underestimating what it takes to write your resume and not paying attention to the little things, grammar, punctuation, follow-up, being courteous to the receptionist. That is all good stuff. And so a person that is getting your book can actually get an insight into those things.
That's right. We talked about blogging, and I wrote the book using blog entries that I created along the way where I had some time to reflect on job search. But one of the things that's unique to the book that's not on the blog is that I also reached out to about 50 hiring managers, small business owners, HR professionals to get their thoughts on why job seekers are missing the mark. So you'll get to hear straight from the horse's mouth why your resume wasn't selected and why you weren't hired from the job.
Wow, this is great stuff, Joy. This is great stuff. Thank you so much. So tell us where people can find you on social media.
People can find me everywhere. That's well, it is a gift. I was going to say it's a gift and a curse, but I actually love being social. I love connecting with people and helping. You can find me on Instagram at Joey V Price HR. You can find me on Facebook at Joey V Price. You can also find me on Twitter at Joey V Price HR. I'm also on Snapchat for those who are into that sort of thing, but that's JVP2133. And, of course, my businesses and podcast, those handles are going to be Jumpstart HR, all one word. And then for Business, Life, and Coffee, on Twitter, it's Biz Life Coffee. That's BIZLIFECOFFEE. And then on Instagram and Facebook, it's Business, Life, and Coffee.
Awesome. And where can they purchase your book?
You can purchase the book